that I have concluded my discussion on the solid, liquid, and gaseous fuels. Okay, there in solid fuels, I have done the discussion. We have discussed about the coal. Okay, I hope you also understand that we are discussing in this particular topic only about the fossil fuels and their chemical analysis. Okay, and hence is the discussion. Okay, now we have chosen coal for the study of the solid fuels. Again, it's a fossil fuel, conventional non-renewable energy, and we elaborated the discussion on the coal, how coalification takes place, and the chemical analysis of coal in terms of proximate and ultimate analysis of coal. అర్థమైంది కదా, కోల్ ది కెమికల్ అనాలిసిస్ రెండు విధాలుగా చేసాం, proximate and ultimate analysis of coal. Okay, next followed by our discussion on the liquid fuels. There we discussed about the mining and refining of crude oil or petroleum. Again, a fossil fuel, conventional non-renewable energy. Okay, and hence what we have discussed there was how the mining of the crude oil or petroleum is done, followed by its refining. Refining of crude oil or petroleum is done by a method called as fractional distillation. Okay, we have you can recollect yourself that fractional distillation is the process of separation of various fractions of crude oil or petroleum depending upon their boiling range. Okay, again, the boiling range of any fuel is directly proportional to its molecular weight. That means lesser the molecular weight, it gives the lower fractions, lower boiling fractions, whereas higher boiling ranges will have high molecular weights. అర్థమైంది కదా. సో మనము క్రూడ్ ఆయిల్ చెప్పినప్పుడు దాని ఎక్స్ట్రాక్షన్ చెప్పుకున్నాం, దాంట్లోంచి వాటర్ని ఎలా తీసేస్తాం కోటరెల్స్ మెథడ్ ద్వారా, సల్ఫర్ని ఎలా తీస్తాం కాపర్ కాంపౌండ్స్ యూస్ చేసి, పర్టికులర్ గా కాపర్ ఆక్సైడ్ యూస్ చేసి ఎలా తీస్తాము, సోడియం మెగ్నీషియం సాల్ట్స్ ఎలా కాంప్లెక్స్ చేసి తీసేస్తాము, ఇవన్నీను మనం చూసాం. సరే, అక్కడ మెయిన్ పాయింట్ ఏంటంటే రిఫైనింగ్, అది ఫ్రాక్షనల్ డిస్టిలేషన్ తో చేస్తాం. ఫ్రాక్షనల్ డిస్టిలేషన్ అంటే ఏంటి, సెపరేషన్ ఆఫ్ వేరియస్ ఫ్రాక్షన్స్ ఆఫ్ క్రూడ్ ఆయిల్ ఆర్ పెట్రోలియం డిపెండింగ్ అపాన్ దేర్ బాయిలింగ్ రేంజ్. అంటే ఏంటి, ఈ క్రూడ్ ఆయిల్ పెట్రోలియం లో అది ఒక థిక్ విస్కస్ లిక్విడే, డార్క్ బ్రౌన్ ఆర్ బ్లాక్ కలర్ లో ఉంటుంది. సరే, దానిని వేపరైజ్ చేసి ఒక ఫ్రాక్షనేటింగ్ టవర్ లో పాస్ చేసినప్పుడు, ఫ్రాక్షనేటింగ్ టవర్ అంటే ఒక లాంగ్ డ్రాన్ టవర్, దాంట్లో చాలా బబుల్ క్యాప్స్ ఉంటాయి. ఏంటి ఐడియా అంటే, ఈ వేపర్స్ ఆఫ్ క్రూడ్ ఆయిల్ ఆర్ పెట్రోలియం ని కింద నుంచి ఆ పై టవర్ పైకి పాస్ చేసేటప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది అంటే, ఏ ఏ దాంట్లో ఏ ఫ్రాక్షన్స్ అయితే తక్కువ మాలిక్యులర్ వెయిట్ ఉన్నాయో వాటికి లో బాయిలింగ్ రేంజ్ ఉంటుంది, అవి ఎక్కువ గేషియస్ ఫామ్ లో ఉంటాయి. సో అవి పైకి వెళ్తూ ఉంటాయి. సరే, ఆ టవర్ లో ఎలా ఉంటుందంటే ఒక ర్యాక్స్ లాగా ఉంటుంది. ఓకే, ఒక్కొక్క ర్యాక్ దగ్గర ఒక్కొక్క లిక్విడ్ ఏదైతే అంత మిక్స్ అయి ఉందో క్రూడ్ ఆయిల్ లో అవి సెపరేట్ అవుతుంది. అదే ఫ్రాక్షనల్ డిస్టిలేషన్. ఒక్కొక్క ర్యాక్ ఒక్కొక్క బాయిలింగ్ రేంజ్ కింద తీసుకోవచ్చు. ఓకే, సో ద ఫ్రాక్షనల్ డిస్టిలేషన్. When during the fractional distillation we got the LPG gas mainly from the top as uncondensed gases, followed by pet ether, petrol, kerosene and diesel fractions. The rest all are heavy or middle oil fractions. The rest all are heavy or middle oil fractions, and hence is a separation. Followed by our discussion about the petrol, how to bring more and more petrol into utility. We talked about the cracking process. Cracking process is the breaking of petrol, heavier fractions of crude oil or petrol extraction into lower range, low boiling range solutions or liquids. Okay, it's like you're breaking the heavier fractions into low boiling fractions. Okay, that's the discussion. Then we have discussed about the catalytic cracking. There, cracking is done by three ways: thermal cracking, hydrocracking, and catalytic cracking. Okay. Now, what's there in your syllabus is catalytic cracking. In that, you have moving bed catalytic cracking. We have discussed that in detail and we have revised yesterday. Followed by evaluating the quality of petrol. Okay, petrol. Petrol and diesel are the two commercially important fractions which actually are used in the automobile industry, and their consumption is in very high quantities and lot of revenue to the economy. Okay, so when we are considering the quality of petrol or diesel, we'll talk about what are called as knocking properties. The rattling sound by the IC engines due to improper combustion of petrol or diesel is called as knocking, and greater the knocking, poor is the quality of the fuel. Okay, in the case of petrol, pre-ignition contributes to knocking, and we, for expressing the anti-knocking properties of petrol, we give a rating called as octane rating or octane number. Okay, octane number is the number that gives the quality of petrol. Octane number is defined as the percentage of isooctane present in a mixture of isooctane and N-heptane. Greater the octane number, greater is the quality of petrol. Okay. To improve the anti-knocking properties of petrol, various additives are added to it. The additives which are added could be lead or non-lead compounds. If the additive which controls the anti-knocking properties is lead, the petrol is called as leaded petrol. Tetraethyl lead, TEL, TEL is the main additive that is used, and along with that ethylene bromide is used. TEL hampers the knocking properties by poisoning the fuel not to undergo oxidation very quickly. That means it will not allow premature ignition to take place. Okay. Whereas non-lead compounds nowadays are being exclusively used, and the petrol is called as unleaded petrol. And what you would understand here, high octane containing compounds are generally added for the purpose. Okay, isopentane, isooctane, ethyl benzene or isopropyl benzene. Very important is methyl tertiary butyl ether is the major additive nowadays being used to improve the anti-knocking properties of petrol. And this petrol is unleaded petrol. Okay, that's how we'll discuss. So when you're talking about the chemical nature, because I understood that straight chain hydrocarbons undergo faster combustion as compared to branched, olefinic and aromatic compounds. So if petrol has less number of straight chain hydrocarbons, it is supposed to be having more anti-knocking properties. Okay, so straight chain hydrocarbon should be less than, branched less than, olefinic less than, aromatic compounds for anti-knocking properties. Exactly the reverse order for knocking. Okay, that's about the quality of petrol. Then cetane number is a number that is given to describe the quality of diesel. Okay, diesel cetane number, petrol octane number. When you're talking about cetane number, it is a percentage of N-hexadecane that is present in the mixture of N-hexadecane and 2-methyl naphthalene. Generally, diesel suffers ignition delay. That means there is no fast ignition of that fuel and the engine suffers knocking. Okay, to avoid that, I will use various additives like amyl nitrites, various peroxides, and hexanonane. N-hexanonane is one of the best compound that is added to improve the anti-knocking properties of diesel. Why? These compounds promote faster combustion and hence the knocking is minimized. That means anti-knocking properties are enhanced. Again, just like petrol, here for diesel, what the chemical composition it should have? It should have more straight chain compounds than olefinic, aromatic or branched chain compounds. That's the most important thing for rating diesel. Okay. After concluding the description on liquid fuels, we concluded yesterday's discussion on the gaseous fuel, talking about the LPG and CNG. Okay. Natural gas is a fossil fuel, whereas LPG is a derived fuel. Okay. It's not a natural fuel, it is a derived fuel or secondary fuel, I'd say. From where does this LPG comes from? The fractional distillation straight away of crude oil or heavy oil fractions, or sometimes from natural gas. Okay. LPG has highest calorific value. This is the domestic fuel we are using even in our. Okay. Calorific value to 27,500 is the kilocals per kg is the meter cube is the calorific value of that fuel. Very good fuel. Combustion can be regulated and the burning takes place in a very ordered manner. No byproducts form. Combustion does not give any harmful gases at all or byproducts in the process. Followed by CNG, having relatively less calorific value of 12,000 to 14,000 kilocals per meter cube. But again, very, very widely used because of its non-polluting nature and very good capability of moderate burning in an ordered manner, and of course very benign environmentally. Okay, and hence was a discussion. Then we started about our discussion about the biodiesel. It's an alternate fuel, natural fuel, okay, and a renewable energy source. Okay, this is the only renewable energy source that's there. We are talking in this. Okay, there we described what is we defined the biodiesel as the monoalkyl esters that are actually being used for the power generation. The sources are plants and animals, and while this liquid or oil that is coming from vegetables or animals or is called biodiesel, I've told with you yesterday that the liquid that is obtained from the plants or animal sources is having the carbon range near to the diesel. Okay, that is C10 to C18 range. The boiling range is also very nearby, 250 to 320. Okay, and has a similar properties just like diesel. So it's called as biodiesel. Okay, yesterday we talked that the just the oil or the fat that we get from the natural source contains a lot of triglycerides, which makes that biodiesel a very, very thick viscous liquid. Okay, so yesterday I stopped my discussion here giving the structure of triglycerides. Now, what is an ester? Ester is a combination of an acid and alcohol. Okay, then the esterification reaction can take place in the presence of an acid or an alcohol. Okay, so we have seen how the esters are formed, followed by our discussion on the terminology for alcohols. The OH containing compounds are called as alcohols if the number of OH groups is 1. If a molecule contains 2 OH molecules, they are called as glycols. If they are containing 3 OH groups, they are called as glycerols. When a glycerol molecule, that is a trihydroxy molecule, reacts with higher fatty acids, that means the carbon range is more than C9, C10, like that. Okay, then what will happen? It will result in the formation of an ester called as triglycerides. Now, this is the main composition of the liquids or fats that I get from the plants or animals, and hence they are really viscous liquids and hence can't be used as a fuel. Okay, now I want to do a small structural change so that the viscosity gets reduced and I can use that oil as a fuel. Okay, the reaction is called as ట్రాన్స్ రియాక్షన్. ఏం చెప్పాను అర్థమైంది కదా? ఏదైతే నేను ప్లాంట్ నుంచి వెజిటేబుల్ ఆయిల్ నుంచి యానిమల్ ఫ్యాట్స్ నుంచి తీసుకుంటున్నానో ఆ ఆయిల్ లో ఏముంటుంది, చాలా ట్రైగ్లిసరైడ్స్ ఉంటాయి. ఆ ట్రైగ్లిసరైడ్స్ ఉండడం వలన ఏముంటుంది, అది బాగా చిక్కగా ఉంటుంది, అంటే విస్కస్ గా ఉంటుంది. ఏది మన ఆముద నూనె తెలుసు కదా, అది కూడా వన్ ఆఫ్ ద మేజర్ బయోడీజిల్ కాంట్రిబ్యూటింగ్ మెటీరియల్. సరే, అంత థిక్ గా ఉంటే ఫాస్ట్ గా కంబస్షన్ అవ్వదు. సరే, అందుకని ఏం చేస్తాను, దాని విస్కాసిటీని రెడ్యూస్ చేస్తా. ఎలా చేస్తాను, ఆ ట్రైగ్లిసరైడ్స్ ని బ్రేక్ చేసి. సరే, ఆ రియాక్షన్ ఏదైతే నేను దాని విస్కాసిటీ రెడ్యూస్ చేసే రియాక్షన్ ని ఏమంటాను, ట్రాన్స్ ఎస్టరిఫికేషన్ రియాక్షన్. ఓకే, that's the definition. Please take down. Important. Okay, I can straight away put like this: production of biodiesel by trans esterification of triglycerides. This is the main part of the topic. Okay, production of biodiesel, production of biodiesel, trans esterification reaction. Trans esterification reaction. It is mainly to reduce the viscosity. That's the main idea. The trans esterification reaction mainly aims at reducing the viscosity of the triglyceride liquids. Okay. Now the first point is definition. Definition. The process of exchanging organic groups. The process of exchanging organic groups, in particularly alkyl groups. Alkyl groups of an ester between an ester that is triglyceride between an ester and alcohol. The process of exchanging organic groups between an ester and alcohol is called trans esterification. Generally asked question from this topic. I hope you have taken the definition. Okay, now I shall start explaining this concept. So here you have seen, just listen to the session in Japan. ట్రాన్స్ ఎస్టరిఫికేషన్ చేయడమే ప్రొడక్షన్ ఆఫ్ బయోడీజిల్ అని చెప్తున్నాం. ఓకే, అయ్య బాబోయ్ ఏమిటి గొడవ అంటే ఏం లేదు, చాలా ఈజీ. ఆ డెఫినేషన్ అలా చెప్పేసిన తర్వాత కంగారు పడకూడదు. ఏం లేదు, నాకు తెలుసు ఏమైంది, ఏదైతే ఆయిల్ కానీ ఫ్యాట్ కానీ నేను ప్లాంట్ ఆర్ యానిమల్ సోర్స్ నుంచి తీసుకున్నది, దాంట్లో 90 to 98% ఆ ట్రైగ్లిసరైడ్స్ ఉన్నాయి. అంటే కాంపోజిషన్ ఎలా ఉంది, అలా ఉంది. మొత్తం 3 కార్బన్లు, వాటికి ఎస్టర్స్, అలా ఉంది. దీనివల్ల చాలా థిక్ లిక్విడ్ కింద ఉంది ఆ పర్టికులర్ ఆయిల్. దాన్ని ఏం చేశాను, థిన్ చేసా, ఆయిల్ ని థిన్ చేశాను. అంటే పల్చగా చేశాను ఎలాగా ఒక రియాక్షన్ తో ఏంటా రియాక్షన్ ట్రాన్సెస్టరిఫికేషన్ రియాక్షన్ ట్రాన్సెస్టరిఫికేషన్ actually reduces the viscosity. That's how the production of biodiesel is done. Okay, now I am writing the triglyceride. Okay, I am writing the triglyceride. Okay, and I am explaining the concept. So you have seen the triglyceride out there. Okay, I'll write the triglyceride. This I got from the plant or animal source. Okay, and I am reacting it with an alcohol group. Okay, suppose that alcohol is R prime OH. R prime OH. Okay, did you write that? After that, what I'll do? I'll do an acid or base catalyzed or enzyme catalyzed reaction. Okay, the reaction is acid or base or enzyme catalyzed. Okay, generally base catalyzed reaction takes place. Reaction is acid base or enzyme catalyzed. Okay, now that's the triglyceride, that's the alcohol. Fine. What? How to write the monoalkyl esters? Now this is triglyceride. Okay, ester in a single molecule. What will happen as soon as I do this reaction? It starts breaking here. Okay, here and here there is cleavage. Okay, result is in the formation of the alcohols. Okay, so what will happen? First, it will give Did you write the product? Okay, I'm writing the product, please check. Okay, I've got the glycerol first. Okay, I've got the glycerol. Okay, what is happening? First, I am getting back the glycerol. Oh, where did I put the line? There. Here. Sorry. It's the other side. Ester is hydrolyzed. Okay. Now, glycerol is formed. Okay. Along with that, now there are 3 groups there. Okay. R. What's the ester moiety? R. C double bond O. O. R1. Okay. R prime. That's R prime. Okay. R prime. C double bond O. O R2. C double bond O R3. Okay. Now these 3 are monoalkyl esters. Again, these are esters, but they are monoalkyl. Okay. And hence will reduce the viscosity of the liquid. అర్థమైందా? ఇంకోసారి చెప్తా. ఎప్పుడైతే ఒక్కసారి హైడ్రోలసిస్ అయిపోయిందో ఏమవుతుంది, ట్రాన్స్ ఎస్టరిఫికేషన్ రియాక్షన్ లో అక్కడ చెప్పలేదు, ఇక్కడ ఎస్టర్ హైడ్రోలసిస్ అవుతుంది. ఓకే, ఎస్టర్స్ హైడ్రోలైజ్ అయిపోయి ఏమవుతుంది, ఈ ఆర్ ప్రైమ్ గ్రూప్ యాడ్ అవుతుంది, అవి అలా ఫామ్ అవుతుంది. సరే, ఇప్పుడు గ్లిజరాల్ వచ్చేసింది, తర్వాత కొత్త ఎస్టర్స్ ఫామ్ అయ్యాయి. ఆ ఫామ్ అయిన కొత్త ఎస్టర్స్ లో ట్రైగ్లిజరైడ్ బాండ్ లేదు, ఓన్లీ మోనో ఆల్కైల్ ఎస్టర్స్ ఉన్నాయి. కాబట్టి అది ట్రాన్స్ ఎస్టరిఫికేషన్ రియాక్షన్. ఈ మోనో ఆల్కైల్ ఎస్టర్స్ ఫార్మేషన్ వలన ఏమైంది, the viscosity of the fluid has got exponentially reduced. Okay, and hence the trans esterification. Okay. Okay. Now, write the last dot there. Generally, the reactions are base catalyzed. Generally, the reactions are base catalyzed. Okay, for commercial application. Fine. Now, the next point which you need to know here is that this concludes the main production process of biodiesel. Okay, this is how the biodiesel is made generally, particularly in industries. Okay, then we need to know the properties of this biodiesel now. Okay, so how to know the properties of biodiesel? Okay, and on what factors the properties of biodiesel depends. Okay, right, the next point there, the properties and quality of biodiesel. First, I discuss the quality of biodiesel. Okay, ready? Quality of biodiesel. See, as the name tells, the boiling range falls in the diesel, that is around 250 to around 300, 220 to 300 plus. It's the boiling range of the fuels is generally biodiesel. They are not very thick now, they are little thin fluids. Okay, but they can't be used just like that for the general application, because our IC engines are not compatible for that. Okay, so before I start discussing about the properties, the first point I should know is about how the quality of this biodiesel will be. So quality of biodiesel depends upon certain factors. Okay, what is the first factor? It depends upon the nature of fatty acids and alcohols. It depends upon the nature of fatty acids and alcohols. That's the first point that is very important, because the main composition of the biodiesel is the fatty acid esters. Okay, now esters are formed by due to the reaction between fatty acids and alcohol. Sare, easy. ఎలాగంటూ బయోడీజిల్ లో మొత్తం అన్ని అవే ఉంటాయి కాబట్టి ఏమవుతుంది, ఫ్యాటీ యాసిడ్స్ ఆల్కహాల్ నేచర్ ని బట్టి ద క్వాలిటీ ఆఫ్ బయోడీజిల్ చాలా డిపెండ్ అయ్యింది. ఓకే, they form the ester, monoalkyl esters, which is the main component of biodiesel. That's the first point. Okay, what is the other point on which the nature of biodiesel depends? Okay, first is the second one is number of carbons in fatty acid, number of carbons in fatty acid Okay, number of carbons, unsaturation, type of chain, ante whether it is straight chain or branch. Okay, unsaturation, type of chain, and the number of carbons of the fatty acid affects the properties of biodiesel. Number of carbons of the fatty acids, unsaturation and type of chain of the fatty acid affects the quality. Okay, because this is one of the major ester forming compound. Okay, next. Third one is alcohol moieties also determine esterification and quality. Determine the quality. Determine the esterification and the quality. Okay, so these are the properties that are dictated by the nature of the fatty acid and alcohol, which affects the quality of biodiesel. Okay. Next. Okay. I'll just move to the properties. Okay, I'll quickly have to finish this with the 5 minutes time. Okay, so what are the properties that are generally studied on this biodiesel? Because it is one of the major alternate source of energy. Okay. Fine. So properties that are studied. First property is cetane number, which gives the quality of diesel. Good cetane number. Okay. More than biodiesel, more than petrodiesel. That means the quality of this biodiesel is very, very good. Why? Its cetane number is generally high. Okay, that's a very advantageous one. Okay, next, when they talk about the other property, next, it has very good lubricating properties and it has the same boiling range as that of the diesel. Second point, boiling range. It again little fluctuates depending upon the source and the esters that are present. Okay, depends on the monoalkyl esters. Depends on the monoalkyl esters from which it is made. Okay, from which it is made. Okay, and what you should know that very nearly in the same range of diesel. Nearly same range of petrol diesel. So it is called biodiesel. Okay. The third property is lubrication. It has good lubricating properties. Very good lubricating properties. Lubricating properties are very, very good for this. Okay.
Ma'am, nearly same range of
Ma?
nearly same range of అది కనబడతలే మ్యామ్
Inside?
నియర్లీ సేమ్ రేంజ్ ఆఫ్ అది బాయిలింగ్ రేంజ్ మ్యామ్
Nearly same range. 200 to 350 ఆ రేంజ్ లోనే ఉంటుంది. బట్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్ పిన్ చేయలేం. ఎందుకు అంటే అది ఎస్టర్స్ ఏ ఎస్టర్స్ కంపోజ్ అయి ఉంటుందో దాన్ని బట్టి కదా. ఎందుకంటే బాయిలింగ్ పాయింట్ ఎలా దేనికి డిపెండ్ అయి ఉంటుంది? కార్బన్ కంటెంట్ మీద. గ్రేటర్ ద కార్బన్ కంటెంట్ గ్రేటర్ ఇస్ ద బాయిలింగ్ పాయింట్. అలా కదా, అలా. ఓకే ఓకే. నా ద నెక్స్ట్ వన్ ఈస్ calorific value. What's the calorific value of diesel? Did I ever tell you about the calorific value of diesel? ఎంత? 11,000 kilocalories per kg. Okay, it is 10% less than the petrol diesel. Almost same, only 10% less than the petrol diesel is the calorific value. Okay. Next, fifth one is flash point and fire point are low. Flash point and fire point are low. Sorry, what is this flash point or fire point? This is one of the property that is studied for liquid fuels. Okay, so what you will see, if how the petrol or diesel catches fire. Okay, ignition. ఎలా ignition మొదలవుతుంది అంటే ఎప్పుడైతే the vapors catch fire. How the vapors catch fire in the case of petrol? This I didn't explain because of lack of time. Okay, small, you know, మనం స్పార్క్ ఎలా వస్తుంది, మనం ఆన్ చేస్తాం అనుకో వెహికల్, ఏమవుతుంది, మనం బటన్ నొక్కుతాం కదా, బటన్ నొక్కినప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది, అక్కడ స్పార్క్ ఆఫ్ ఫైర్ వచ్చి పెట్రోల్ ఉంటే పెట్రోల్ ఏమవుతుంది, జస్ట్ స్మాల్ స్పార్క్ ఆఫ్ ఫైర్ తో అది ఇగ్నైట్ అయ్యి ఇంటర్నల్ కంబస్షన్ ఎంజిన్ లో అక్కడ బర్నింగ్ ఆఫ్ ద ఫ్యూయల్ అవుతుంది. పెట్రోల్ కి స్మాల్ స్పార్క్ ఆఫ్ ఫైర్ ఈజ్ సఫిషియంట్, బట్ నాట్ ఫర్ డీజిల్. డీజిల్ లో ఏమవుతుందంటే ద డీజిల్ ఈస్ కంప్రెస్డ్ టు సచ్ ఎ హై ప్రెషర్. ఎంత కంప్రెస్ అవుతుందంటే డీజిల్, దట్ ఇట్ స్టార్ట్స్ బర్నింగ్ డ్యూ టు ద టెంపరేచర్ గెయిన్డ్ డ్యూ టు compression. Okay, why? Diesel or biodiesel does not contain much vapor pressure because they're very, very high boiling liquids, so they don't vaporize. Fine. So how to make them burn? Okay, how to ignite them? It is due to compression. They'll compress the diesel to such an extent that the temperatures go nearly to 300 degrees centigrade, and then it catches fire because of that heat. Okay, that's the reason why ignition delay takes place in the case of diesel, because small sparks will not make diesel ignite at all. Okay, so it is the compression that causes heat and burning of the diesel. Okay, so the temperature at which the diesel catches fire or any fuel catches fire is called as flash point, and the temperature at which it starts burning without any further supply of heat energy is called as fire point. What is flash point? The temperature, it is the minimum temperature at which a fuel starts burning. Okay. What is fire point? The point or the temperature at which it does not further require any supply of energy. That means at fire point it ignites and it starts burning. Okay. Generally, flash point is very low for petrol. That's the reason why premature ignition takes place. But as compared to diesel, biodiesel has low flash point and fire point points lower than petrol diesel. Okay, that's the why ours is a beautiful nation with balanced temperatures and all. Even if you go to north, okay, what will happen during summers? Almost freezing temperatures. Correct? Now to ignite a fuel, it takes an effort. Go to west, minus degrees and all. So they are very choosy about choosing fuels and lubricants corresponding to the flash and fire points because of the existing temperatures there. Obviously, they'll consider the flash point and fire point. Okay, that's about the description about the properties of biodiesel. Okay. Okay. Next is limitations. Okay, one more very important point is it has very less sulfur content, and hence the main advantage is that it is a renewable energy and it is a good fuel. Okay. Now the limitations is that limitations. What are the limitations using biodiesel? It is corrosive. It is corrosive. Because the source is plant or animal source, sometimes it is corrosive to IC engines. That's the first thing. Okay. Low calorific value than petrochemical. Low calorific value than petrochemical. Petrodiesel. Okay. Next. Sometimes might contain water. Sometimes water might be missing. So it reduces the calorific value. And as such, this cannot be used for IC engines just like that. So it is always used as blended oil. Okay. So last point, applications. Applications. See, after discussing this, I'll start describing the heart of the fuels topic, that is calorific value and combustion values. Very important. I hope there's no class afterwards. And that's the reason why today I want to talk really very important topic. Seeing the strength yesterday, I could not continue also. I think you had another class. But today, I think I need to work on my important things. It's a mandatory question case. Mandatory question in your second, mid and final exam. One question either on combustion or air quantities, okay, in this chapter, along with the essay questions I told you. Okay. In water chemistry, one mandatory, one or two numericals, compulsory. Calcium carbonate equivalence calculation, EDTA estimation, alkalinity numerical. Any of the three, at least two are mandatory questions. Here also two numericals are mandatory questions. That's it. If you prepare on it, you are done with your preparation more than 50%. That's it. That's a statement I can confidently make today. Okay, I'll get back and I'll conclude this discussion on the biodiesel. Okay, so what are the applications? Applications, it is always used in combination with the petrol diesel. Straight away, biodiesel is not much used. Very few cases that biodiesel is used just like that. Or generally, it is used as blended oil. So, generally used commercially as blended oil. Commercially blended with petrol diesel. Okay, so okay, they'll say capital B, B factor is the term used to identify the percentage of biodiesel in the blend. In the blend. Elaga, if B20 is given, implies 20% biodiesel and 80% petrol diesel. Okay, if it is B40, implies 40% biodiesel and 60% petrol diesel. That's how the numbers helps us to find the proportion of the biodiesel that got mixed with the petrol diesel, the B factor. Okay, tells about the percentage of okay. Now that concludes the topic. What are the main advantages? It is a renewable natural energy which is very much sought after for today's needs. Okay, and this contains good carbon neutrality. A very highlight point which I would want to tell. Advantages. So what are the advantages? First one, renewable energy. Natural renewable energy. It is alternate source of energy. Okay. Very much sought after today. Okay. And it has very good carbon neutrality. Environmentally safe fuel and it contains lot of carbon neutrality. This is a question asked nowadays compulsory. So what it means by carbon neutrality? I'll explain and I'll give you the definition. So what is carbon neutrality? You might have already studied this in your I'd say EVS class. Okay, did you say study water cycle, nitrogen cycle? No, this is very similar to carbon cycle. This is carbon cycle. So what is carbon neutrality? Carbon dioxide again is a greenhouse gas, increasing one of the major contributor to global warming. This is the hue and cry of the society today. Why? I already explained. Because of excess emission of carbon dioxide, what is happening? Global warming is just becoming uncontrollable, leading to melting of perma ice, which is very, very dangerous, okay, increasing the sea or oceanic levels and disturbing the entire ecosystems, okay, sea ecosystem or water ecosystem, the forests and all. Life getting disturbed, okay. So what we are aiming today in the case of fuels, we are expecting one of the major combustion product during the burning of fuel is carbon dioxide. We know that fuels on combustion give carbon dioxide and H2O. Okay, so on burning this fuel, the emitted carbon dioxide, being lighter in weight, just moves up, and increases the heat. Okay, now I want to tap that carbon dioxide. We all know plants are the major units which can convert carbon dioxide to carbohydrates by photosynthesis process. So hence afforestation, still that's, I think you might have studied that. Afforestation is not actually creating any forest ecosystem, but still it is minimizing the amount of pollution. Best thing is avoid deforestation. Avoid deforestation is the right word than to say afforestation. Okay, afforestation is a remedial action. Okay, so deforestation should be stopped. Why? The carbon dioxide that is emitted is quickly gets converted to carbohydrates in a very simple natural way by photosynthesis. This is the major help that is done by trees to control the carbon dioxide levels on the earth's surface. Apart from that, so that is one of the sink. Okay, now what is the other sink for the carbon dioxides are uh, soil, okay, which takes various carbonates, and the sea or oceans where the carbon dioxide gets absorbed. Okay, the carbon dioxide is one of the gas that is present in waters. Okay, so the sinks for carbon dioxide are first plants, okay, the huge forests. Apart from that, land or soil and oceans are the main sinks for carbon dioxide. Okay, now what is carbon neutrality? This carbon dioxide that got emitted due to burning of hydrocarbons, okay, which came as a product during the burning of the fuel, is now converted again into a reusable form. It could be a carbohydrate which is used by the life again, or hydrocarbons formed for again fuels. Okay, so this completion of chain of carbon, okay, that is getting convert carbon that is present in the fuel getting converted to carbon dioxide, and the carbon dioxide once again being trapped and getting converted to hydrocarbons is nothing but the carbon cycle. It is also called as carbon sequestration. Okay, and it is maintaining the carbon levels homogeneously and is called as carbon neutrality. Okay, and hence is the description. Now please take down uh, the definition for carbon neutrality. Okay, definition for carbon neutrality. Excuse me, 1 second. Okay, sorry for the time gap. Right, carbon neutrality. It is having a net zero carbon footprint. It is having having net zero carbon footprint. Net zero carbon footprint. Okay, refers to balancing, refers to balancing the carbon content in the atmosphere. Refers to balancing the carbon content in the atmosphere. Refers to balancing the carbon content in the atmosphere. Carbon emissions, EMI को emissions spelling EMISSIO. Carbon emissions, particularly as carbon dioxide, carbon emissions and it's a balance between carbon emission and carbon absorption. Carbon emission and carbon absorption. Is the board clear? It's a balance between carbon emission and carbon absorption. This is absorption in the form of hydrocarbons. Okay. Next. Converting carbon dioxide, into hydrocarbons, converting carbon dioxide to hydrocarbons is called carbon sequestration. Carbon dioxide which is present in atmosphere to hydrocarbons. It's nothing but called as carbon sequestration. Okay. Last point. Okay. Fine. Last point here. Carbon sinks are, what are the carbon sinks? First, forests trap carbon dioxide for carbon dioxide is used in photosynthesis. The aquatic life also helps. So oceans and soil acts as the carbon sinks, which can trap the carbon dioxide and convert into the hydrocarbons and hence maintain the carbon neutrality. Okay, that concludes the the biodiesel topic and elaborate discussion. Okay. Now, are Kirti and Hafsa present in the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Good
Yes,
morning
ma'am.
to both of you. Are there any more points you can add here to this topic, which you think might be more useful? You can add on. Okay. Otherwise, this biodiesel, which is part of the third chapter, is concluded. Why you might be asking why I discuss this right now? It's only because I'd say this biodiesel is actually was part of the fuels topic because this is one of the sought after fuel nowadays. Along with the gobar gas, biogas, this biodiesel also is very commonly used nowadays, particularly in our India. In our rural India, we are aimed at tapping this biogas, gobar gas. Already we have gobar gas plants. Is it not? It's a very old concept, but then very, very much useful in rural India. Along with that, this biodiesel making is again happening one for us. It's alternate source and it is fast replacing. Blended oils are very, very common nowadays. Okay, this is the topic. Now I'll go to the most important point of this chapter. Okay, that is calorific value of fuels. Okay, fine. Whether the fuel is a natural fuel or a derived fuel or fuel having high calorific value or low calorific value, whatever it is, whether the fuel is a petrodiesel or a biodiesel, whatever it is, the main idea is to get the sufficient amount of heat energy on combustion. And these definitions are something we have studied already. Okay, so what are the terms I already discussed? First definition is combustion. Did I give you the definition? Yes. What is combustion? Burning of the fuel in the presence of air, okay, or oxygen is called as combustion. Okay, and the amount of heat energy that is released on burning the fuel is called as its calorific value. Okay, and the temperature at which a fuel starts burning without supply of further heat is called as ignition temperature. These are the terms we have already used and we have already understood what are the concepts all about. Now, after discussing about various fuels, I am pinning on the main idea, part of this particular chapter. Combustion, calorific value, and calculation of air quantities. Okay, so the numericals, of course, have to be understood clearly. That's it. It's a mandatory question in your mid and final exam. So should be your concentration now. So I'll start with calorific value and its calculation of calorific values. Right, heading calorific value calculation. calorific value and calculations are most important one. Again, I'll get back to my definition. What's the definition? The total amount of heat energy, liberated by burning 1 unit mass or volume of fuel is nothing but the calorific value. Okay, the total amount of heat energy liberated by burning 1 unit mass of a fuel is nothing but the calorific value. And the calorific value has units. I'm saying the amount of heat energy liberated. Okay, so when I'm using those technical terms, okay, I need to tell you what are the units of calorific value. Okay, calorific value is measured by using 4 units, mainly calorie, kilocalorie, British thermal unit, and centigrade heat units. Okay, so what's the next important point you need to know? Now, how I can measure the calorific value? If I want to measure length, I'll use meters, centimeters, or kilometers, miles. Okay, light years, like that. Units of length, distance. Units of weight, kgs, milligrams, grams. Okay, like that. Units of concentration. What are the units of concentration? Molarity, normality, molality, mole fraction. And if you're talking that of hardness of water, it is ppms, milligrams per liter, degree Clark and degree French. Very much act as units for hardness. Okay, we know that hardness is due to presence of dissolved salts in water. So if you want to express the concentration of solutions, these are the units which you are using. Now, what are the units of calorific value? The heat units. But heat that is liberated for unit mass. Okay, so it should have the terminology for heat as well as weight or volume. So the units that we use for expressing the calorific value are, the first one is calorie. CGS unit, okay, represented as cal. This is CGS unit. Okay, the second one is kilocalorie, represented as K, CAL, cal. This is SI unit. The third unit which we use, not we use, British people. It is British thermal unit. British thermal unit, represented as B dot H dot U. Okay. And the other unit that is used is centigrade heat unit. Centigrade heat unit. Represented by C dot H dot U. Are the 4 units that are used to express the calorific value of fuels. Okay, calorie, kilocalorie, British thermal unit, and centigrade heat unit are the units that are used to express the calorific value of various fuels. Okay, fine. Now have to define these terms. Already given in the notes, but then again we shall study it. So what is calorie? Calorie is the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree centigrade. Write it. Calorie. It is the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree centigrade. Is calorie. What is kilocalorie? The amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 kg of water by 1 degree centigrade is kilocalorie. Okay. Next, what is British thermal unit? It is the heat required to raise the temperature of 1 pound of water by 1 degree Fahrenheit. 1 pound of water by 1 degree Fahrenheit. One kg actually, there is one conversion factor here. 1 kg is almost equal to 2.2 pounds. That's the weight. Okay. And 1 degree centigrade is equal to 1.8 degree Fahrenheit. That's the conversion factor. You might be knowing all this already, but still again for revision. So, what is British thermal unit? The amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 pound of water by 1 degree Fahrenheit is nothing but British thermal unit. Okay. The last one is centigrade heat unit. It is the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 pound of water by 1 degree centigrade. 1 pound of water by 1 degree centigrade is centigrade heat unit. Now, if I want to do the interconversion, okay, I say 1 kilocal is 1000 cals, okay, equal to 3.96 British thermal units equal to 2.2 centigrade heat units. Interconversion factors, okay. So 1 kilocal is equal to 1000 calories is equal to 3.96 British heat unit, British thermal unit, British thermal unit is equal to 2.2 centigrade heat unit. This is important. Put it in a block. Okay. రాస్తున్నారా ఏం చెప్పా ఫ్యూయల్ ని బర్న్ చేస్తే అంటే కంబస్షన్ అంటే ఏంటి ఫ్యూయల్ ని బర్న్ చేయడం సరే దాంట్లో ఉన్న హైడ్రోకార్బన్స్ కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్ మాయిశ్చర్ కింద కన్వర్ట్ అయ్యి ఇంకా చాలా హీట్ ఎనర్జీని రిలీజ్ చేస్తాయి సరే నా మొత్తం డిస్కషన్ ఈ చాప్టర్ లో అంతా సాలిడ్ లిక్విడ్ గేషియస్ ఏ ఫ్యూయల్ అయినా నా టార్గెట్ ఏంటి హీట్ ఎనర్జీ వచ్చి నేను వాడుకోవడం ఆ హీట్ ఎనర్జీ ఫర్ వేరియస్ అప్లికేషన్స్ సరే ఇప్పుడు డిస్కషన్ అంతా వెళ్ళి మెయిన్ పాయింట్కి వచ్చాం ఎంత హీట్ ఎనర్జీ లిబరేట్ అవుతుంది నేను కొలుచుకోవాలి కదా సరే సో ఇప్పుడు ఎలాగా ఓ మంచి బైక్ కొనుక్కుంటారు, బైక్ కొనుక్కొని ప్లాన్లు వేసుకుంటున్నారు అందరూ. అసలు కాలేజ్కి వస్తేనే కదా అయ్యో. లేదా ఈ పాటికి స్టూడెంట్స్ లేటెస్ట్ బైక్స్ వేసుకుని డుర్మని వస్తూ ఉండేవాళ్ళు. గర్ల్స్ అండ్ బాయ్స్ ఈక్వల్ కాంపిటెన్స్ నవడేస్. ఏ సరే, లేదా మీ పేరెంట్స్ అడుగుతారు ఆ బైక్ అయితే ఇంత మైలేజ్ ఉంది, లేదా దాని లేటెస్ట్ బాడీ ఉంది, లేదా స్టైలిష్ గా ఉంది అని చెప్తూ ఉంటారు. సరే, మైలేజ్ అని చెప్పడం అంటే ఏంటి, ఎంత ఫ్యూయల్ కి ఎన్ని కిలోమీటర్స్ రన్ అవుతుందని. అసలు పాయింట్కి వచ్చేసాం అక్కడ. సరే, అది ఎలా తెలుస్తుంది అంటే ఆ కెలరిఫిక్ వాల్యూ ఆఫ్ ఫ్యూయల్ ని బట్టి. అవును, పెట్రోల్ బైక్స్ అయితే తెలుసు, డీజిల్ బైక్స్ ఉన్నాయా మార్కెట్ లో? Does anyone know what are the diesel bikes that are used? Huh? And which is the most expensive bike that is available? Which company sells it? Any idea? I know the answer. What? Madam, first finish the syllabus. We are tired of listening to the class. You are asking us suddenly about the bikes, their mileage, what are the types that are available and all. Come on, kids. Listening to the class for a long time is tough, but not an impossible task. If you are able to listen with concentration, then you are the best engineering material. That's it. Okay? Okay. Now, I've understood that heat energy liberate అవుతుంది. హీట్ ఎనర్జీ లిబరేట్ అయింది, నేను ఇప్పుడు మెజర్ చేయాలి. ఎలా చేస్తాను? ఒక 1 యూనిట్ మాస్, 1 kgయో 1 గ్రామో లేదా 1 సెంటీమీటర్ క్యూబో వాల్యూమ్ తీసుకుంటే అలాగ బర్న్ చేసినప్పుడు ఎంత హీట్ ఎనర్జీ వస్తుంది అనే డిస్కషన్ కి పిన్ అవుతుంది నా డిస్కషన్ అంతా. సో ఆ యూనిట్స్ కలవడానికి ఏం వాడుతున్నాను? కెలరీ, కిలో క్యాలరీ, బ్రిటిష్ థర్మల్ యూనిట్, సెంటిగ్రేడ్ హీట్ యూనిట్ అనేవి వాడుతున్నాను. సరే, కెలరీ అంటే పాత స్కూల్ డెఫినేషన్ ఇదంతా. ఇట్ ఈస్ హీట్ ఎనర్జీ రిక్వైర్డ్ టు రేస్ ద టెంపరేచర్ ఆఫ్ 1 gram of water by 1 degree centigrade. Kilocalories, the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 kg of water by 1 degree centigrade. And British thermal unit is raising the temperature of 1 pound of water by 1 degree Fahrenheit. 1 pound of water ante 1 kg 2.2 pounds annamata. Okay, and 1 degree centigrade is 1.8 Fahrenheit. That's the changing conversion value. Okay, now centigrade heat unit is the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 pound of water by 1 degree centigrade is the measure. These are the units. And in the interconversion factors are 1 kilocal is equal to 1000 calories is equal to 3.96 British thermal units, 2.2 centigrade heat unit. Okay, so these are the units of calorific value. Okay, after giving the units of calorific value, units that are used, so what are the actual units of heat? Okay, so what these are the units of heat. Then I'll pin on the board units of calorific value. Units of calorific value. How to express it? Okay, for solid and liquid fuels, for solid and liquid fuels, the units of calorific value are kilocalories per kg or calories per gram. Kilocalories per kg or calories per gram. Okay, for gaseous or volatile for gaseous or volatile liquids, the units are kilocalories per meter cube or calories per centimeter cube. Okay, that's about the units for calorific value. Okay, next. I'll move. Fine. I have a question to ask. How many of you are able to follow? And how many of you have got tired? Feel free to answer this. Raise your hand by chance if you are comfortable, still not tired. That means your calorific value is good. You are the right fuel for studying the BTech. Others, if they don't have, they can get it by